If you've never seen the show, but you have an interest in the things that I talk about, then I hope you stick around, because the show has touched on pretty much every creature that I've ever talked about on the channel. Supernatural follows Sam, Dean, and John Winchester, as well as baby Dean's 1967 Chevy Impala, as well as their father's journal that's full of his knowledge of the supernatural. And the Winchesters, they hunt creatures like monsters, spirits, and I'll put some of my favorite creatures on the screen. The show has touched on almost every creature that I've ever talked about. John was married to Mary, who was killed by a demon in 1983 when the boys were little. This is how John described that night in his journal. He said, 2 weeks ago, my wife was murdered. I watched her die, pinned to the ceiling of Sammy's room, blood dripping onto his cradle until she burst into flames, looking at me as she died. The week before that, we were a normal family, eating dinner, going to Dean's t-ball game, buying toys for baby Sammy. But in an instant, it all changed. When I try to think back, get it straight in my mind, I feel like I'm going crazy. Like someone ripped both my arms off, plucked my eyes out. I'm wandering around, alone and lost, and I can't do anything. So what happened the night that she died? It was nighttime, and Mary heard Sam crying, and when she went to check on him, she sees the silhouette of a man that looks just like John.
John, is he hungry?
Assuming that it is John, she goes downstairs because she sees the flickering of a TV, and then she quickly realizes that John had fallen asleep watching TV. So who was that upstairs with Sam? She runs back upstairs and she screams, and this wakes up John, who then runs upstairs and into Sam's nursery. When he gets there, Mary is nowhere to be found. So as he, looks down and checks on Sam, he sees blood drip on Sam's face and beside him in his crib. So John looks up to see where it's coming from, and that's when he sees Mary pinned to the ceiling with a bloody gash. A demon had slit her stomach, and its blood got into baby Sam's mouth. She then bursts into flames, and John grabs Sam and tells Dean to quickly take him outside. This set the 15-season series into motion, because without this particular death, John and the boys would never have become hunters, and we wouldn't have a show. As we know, every legend has a source, and the legend of the woman in white appears all around the world. She goes by different names depending on the culture, and her origin story varies, as is usually the case with legends. Basically, the white lady, woman in white, crying woman, La Llorona, etc. is a spirit that is formed from great tragedies. Now here's the story of the woman in white phenomenon. You have a mother that is driven insane by the news of her husband cheating on her, and she either takes her life or the lives of her children. Or she could be a Susan Smith or a Diane Downs type, and those women killed their children or attempted to kill their children to be with a man that didn't want children. She's referred to as the white lady because she's usually seen on roads at night, and she's dressed in a white dress. When drivers, which are usually male, slow down and ask if she needs help, she tells them that she's lost and that she needs a way home. Once they get to her house, she either vanishes or she will end their life. One night in Jericho, California in 1981, a woman named Constance Welch, the wife of Joseph Welch, learned that her husband had cheated on her. In an bout of temporary insanity, intense rage, and extreme insanity, she drowned her 2 sons, and then she took her own life by jumping off the Sylvania Bridge. As time went by, Constance became a woman in white, a vengeful spirit. The longer a ghost walks the earth, the more violent they tend to become. Dean and Sam are on a hunting trip because 10 men have disappeared on that same 5-mile stretch of road in a 20-year time span. So once Sam and Dean drive out to the area, they see where the cops are blocking the bridge where the incident happened, so pretending to be U.S. Marshals in order to gain intel. They talk to the cops, check out the area, and then return to a motel to get some rest and regroup. Hunting monsters doesn't pay, so they make their money by gambling or hustling pool or poker and credit card fraud. They also know how to pick locks and how to hotwire a car. They get in trouble sometimes. Dean ends up being arrested after leaving the motel to get something to eat, but he does get a chance to call Sam and warn him that the cops are outside of the motel. Dean is then handcuffed to a table, Sam causing a fake shooting, and Dean escapes by picking the locks of his handcuff. As Sam is driving on the particular stretch of road that the woman in white is often seen on, he literally drives through Constance, and the next thing you know, she's in his back seat. Now, because she was cheated on, her goal is to make the men that give her a ride cheat on their women, so that she isn't alone in her misery and sadness. She then will kill them. But this doesn't work on Sam, because he has a girlfriend, Jessica, and he is crazy about her. Constance asks Sam to take her home, and he takes her home all right, because he drives her right into her house. And that's where she's confronted by her 2 dead children, and then she's taken away by them. She drowned them in the tub. When Sam returns home, he lies on the bed exhausted, but then he feels something dripping on his face. He looks up, and then he sees his girlfriend Jessica on fire, pinned to the ceiling, exactly like his mother. In the Wendigo episode, Sam and Dean are investigating some mysterious disappearances in the Colorado woods, and they help a family whose brother has gone missing during a camping trip. Their brother has been taken by a Wendigo, but they find him alive in an abandoned mine where it stores its victims until it's ready to eat them. Dean ends up killing it with a flare gun. I've already done an extensive video on Wendigos, so I'll include a short clip here. There are hundreds of stories about the Wendigo and around 35 to 40 recorded variations of the word. According to the legend, a Wendigo is a demon or an evil winter spirit that takes over anyone who has committed the sin of cannibalism and was cursed with a never-ending cannibalistic desire. It's been described in many different ways, but there are some common traits. It's said to be 15 feet tall or as tall as a tree. According to some, it can talk, but according to others it can't. So instead it hisses, whistles, and howls. Wendigo are stronger than a grizzly bear and are pretty much perfect hunters. And like most hunters, they know their territory very well. They can control the weather with dark magic, and their hearing and sense of smell are heightened. Their hearing is so heightened that it can hear a panicked heartbeat from miles away. And some say that they move with the speed of the wind, while others say that it walks as if it's falling apart. Regardless of whether it's fast or not, it doesn't necessarily need to chase down its victims, because it can lure them in with its ability to mimic human voices, and it can sound like someone calling for help. But if you think you're safe indoors, think again. The Wendigo can also unlock doors. Since the Wendigo is a cold-weathered creature, most sightings have been reported in Canada and colder northern states in the US like Minnesota. And a Wendigo was allegedly seen near a town called Roseau in northern Minnesota, and each time it was reported, an unexpected death followed, and then it was gone. And every so often, an alleged sighting or an unexplained sound is reported. An avid hunter was out with his wife and their grandson when they heard mysterious howls and shrieks in the Canadian wilderness. He said, "When it let out the first scream, I thought it was a moose, but my mind changed when it screamed again and again." I've heard many different animals in the wild, but nothing like this. The howls initially came from the distance, but soon they appeared to move much closer. We could hear it moving. It sounded kind of heavy, but my wife, she got scared, so we picked up our grandson and started walking fast towards the vehicle.
How you doing? Oh, just some cruisers, man. That's crazy shit. Guys crawling at me like a damn. What's up, dude?
In this episode, Dead in the Water, Sam and Dean are dealing with another vengeful spirit, which is one that wants revenge for some wrong that's been done to them. In this case, the brothers are investigating lake drownings in a fictional area called Lake Manito in Wisconsin. Over a period of 35 years, several people had drowned in this one particular lake. So the drownings occurred because a little boy was bullied by some boys that thought it was funny to hold his head under the water. They held him under for too long and he died. One of the boys grew up to become the sheriff, so his family was in great danger. His daughter almost drowned in the bathtub, but thankfully he was saved by Dean. One of the other boys that was responsible for the death, he too had children. His daughter was killed in the lake, and his son drowned in the kitchen sink. And the father also was eventually killed in the lake. The reason that the deaths were increasing at a much faster rate than usual was because the lake was going to be drained. The young boy had become a vengeful spirit, and he wanted his revenge before his time ran out. While we tend to focus on the supernatural things that happen on land, spirits in what's called the third realm have been allowed to wreak havoc. The most interesting stories about the marine kingdom and marine spirits that I've seen come from Haiti or African and Caribbean countries. And here I'm going to include just a few of the most interesting clips that I've seen.
Of course, there's people that will disappear. They'll walk into the water. People will see with their eyes. This is just real stuff. They'll see with their eyes people walk into the water and just sink below the water, whatever deity is calling them. And they're gone for years or months or days even. And then they'll come back, and they'll come back with riches, new knowledge, and they'll come back with this wisdom. I really believe that all these sea demons, mermaids, all those things are really just fallen angels here to deceive, here to deceive, give you seducing knowledge and wisdom, make you believe there's so much more out there, creating this image, but all for the same goal of removing yourself from the one true God. Because in Haiti, though these people serve these deities and they go underwater and they worship them and stuff, and they possess them even during rituals, again, there's only one name in which these demons flee, and that is the name of Jesus Christ, okay? They have no power over you. Leviathan under the sea seems to be that creature that is brought up a lot in the Bible. And so with that being said, there obviously are creatures, but who are exactly these creatures? Did God create these creatures? Why are they so scary? Why are they under the water? What are sea demons? Real mermaids are nothing compared to what today's society has portrayed it. They're not friendly, but in reality, they're scary and demonic. There's this infatuation with mermaids I see, especially in the West. In American and European cultures, there's this strong fascination. But in African culture and Caribbean culture, specifically in Haiti too, in Haiti, everywhere you go, you'll see paintings and arts of mermaid, and people recount, their mermaid stories, and they even worship mermaid deities or sea demon deities. But in America, we have Little Ariel, we have the Little Mermaid fatuations, and everyone wants to be called a mermaid or a siren. Like we label Marilyn Monroe as a siren, and usually when you call a woman a siren in America, that means that they are seductive and enticing, and men just fall at their feet. So there is this glamorization of the terms, with a lot of people not really knowing just how deep it goes. Like if there are some people that you ask in African cultures and also Caribbean culture, and I'm from Haiti, there's people that really see like the sea demons and the mermaids and sirens and things as not really a negative thing. And I'm sure many will debate me in a comment like, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad deity to worship. It's culture. It's this, it's that. For most, mermaids is a mythical creature, right? Through Greek mythology, there has always been all these mythical creatures that we've heard about have been here through generations, right? For instance, dragons. Have you seen a dragon today? No, but the Bible make reference to dragons a lot. The dragon is mentioned throughout the Bible so many times. And also Leviathan is also a sea creature that is mentioned in the Bible a lot. In Isaiah 27 verse 1, it says, "In the day the Lord with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea." So the Lord also says there's a dragon under the sea, and that is biblical. That's everywhere, right? We all know that the sea is a crazy place. There's a lot of people in Haiti that would do traveling under the sea, spiritual traveling from whatever gifts their gods that they are serving gives them. And there's been sightings way in the past of fishermen that used to go deep sea fishing before the era of telephones and stuff like that, whether in Greek, Roman, Asian, throughout history, there's been different accounts of these creatures, and these people did not used to spread information like that, but the drawings, the art were all very similar. So it's like there has to be some truth to these creatures if these people were not like cross-referencing or sharing information like that, but yet in their drawings, in their arts, they would come up looking the same.